This might not be the podcast for you, man. If you're not willing to open your mind and learn about what happened in the ancient past, if you want to go to some old wives' tales and fairy tales, this ain't gonna be the podcast for you, buddy. You must well go ahead and move on. All right, we're not scared like that. Over here, over here we're learning. Over here we're expanding consciousness. Over here we're exploring and asking questions and looking for connections. We're not into all that. It must be Satan. It's demons. We're not into that. That's for babies. That's for spiritual babies. If you're a spiritual baby, just get off of this. Just get off of this podcast. You can't handle this. This knowledge is too powerful for you because it's tearing down your belief system and it's ripping your soul out of your body. It's scaring the hell out of you. And if that's the case, just go ahead and move on, man. Go watch something else. Go watch ESPN or the Olympics, whatever. Go find something else to do. Go play with your kids, something, go talk to your wife or your whatever. But don't hang out on here because we're not into all that scary, spooky stuff. All right? We're too mature for that now. Those days are over. Okay? All that blind faith stuff and that demons are scaring us. Those days are coming to an end. Okay? Your days are numbered. Bible thumpers, your days are numbered. Y'all are the last, or maybe 2 generations more, and y'all be done. People are asking questions and waking up nowadays. It ain't no more of this crazy stuff. We're not into the psychosis anymore. All right, we're beyond that. We're beyond that stage. Our minds are so far advanced and so capable of understanding higher concepts and exploring different information. It doesn't scare us anymore. We've got rid of the boogeyman, called the devil, that can whisper in your ears and trick you and beguile you and all that crazy shit. We're done with that. Those days are over. All right, just move on to something else. Thoth says, not as the little men of the present age did, but the mighty ones of Atlantis live and die. But rather from eon to eon did they renew their life in the halls of Amenti, where the river of life flows eternally onward. Now that's an interesting statement. He's talking about the river of life. Listen to what he says here. He says, not as the little men of the present age did, but the mighty ones of Atlantis live and die. He said, rather from eon to eon, that's thousands of years he's talking, did they renew their life in the halls of Amenti, where the river of life flows eternally onward. Now, this river, I've been researching, what is this river that they're talking about, this river of life? And I found this river of life information in biblical texts where Jesus is talking. He says almost the same thing that Thoth says, except Jesus was 2,000 years ago and Thoth was 36,000 years ago. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Jesus says in the New Testament, book of John 7:38, he that believes in me, out of his being shall flow rivers of living water. Thoth says, where the river of life flows eternally onward. It's the same exact statement. Pretty interesting. It's the same exact statement. Why does Jesus' statement align with what Thoth says? Because he was either a student of Thoth, either he is Thoth, or maybe, like I suggested in the beginning of this talk, maybe a relative, like a son, potentially. The teachings of Yeshua were the teachings he learned in Egypt when he went to go learn the Egyptian mysteries. He's saying the same things because this is the source that he learned it from. In these passages, we can already see that the tone is set for reincarnation and regeneration, very similar to the biblical statement in 2 Corinthians 5:2-7. We grow weary in our present bodies, and we long to put on our heavenly bodies like new clothing. For we will put on heavenly bodies. We will not be spirits without bodies. That's in the Bible. Let me say that again. We will not be spirits without bodies. While we live in these earthly bodies, we groan inside, but it's not what we want to die and get rid of in these bodies. We want them to clothe us. Rather, we want to put on our new bodies so that these dying bodies will be swallowed up by life. God himself has prepared for us this, and as a guarantee, he has given us the Holy Spirit. So we are always confident, even though we know that as long as we live in these bodies, we are not at home with the Lord, for we live by believing, not by seeing. So in the biblical text, they're already talking about the fact that when you die, you will be reincarnated into a new body. You're not going to be some floating light spirit with no body. It clearly states that you're going to get a new body. They said you won't be a spirit without a body, 2 Corinthians. Now, what is a human being right now? A human being is a spirit with a body. You are a spirit first that is inhabiting a physical body in the third dimension. What it's saying here in 2 Corinthians, they're alluding to the fact that they understand that there is a reincarnation process. That even after you, quote unquote, pass on to your next life, the spirit also then again longs for some type of a corporeal body, or they're alluding to the fact that they're looking forward to putting on their new corporeal body. Interesting. Just showing you how some of these texts from religious books line up with ancient teachings, and most likely it was taken directly from ancient teachings. Okay? So we're talking about an understanding of these people who wrote a lot of the parts of the biblical text. They were writing from their perspective as well, based on other ancient texts where they got the information about regenerating bodies, getting new bodies, transferring consciousness into new bodies. This is what this is saying. It's talking about putting on a new sleeve, getting rid of the old sleeve and getting it hopping into a new sleeve. It said, we will not be spirits without bodies. No, you're going to have a spirit and a body. Well, you right now have a spirit and a body. Nothing's going to change. And Thoth said, but in the time yet unborn will I rise again, mighty and potent, requiring an accounting of those left behind me. Another interesting statement made by Thoth many thousands of years before Jesus tells his disciples that he will rise again in Mark 9:31. Then beware, O men of Chem, if ye falsely betrayed my teaching, for I shall cast ye down from your highest estate into the darkness of the caves from whence ye came. Betray not my secrets to the men of the north, or the men of the south, lest my curse fall upon thee. Remember to heed my words, for surely I return again, and I require thee which ye guard. Aye, even from beyond time and from beyond death will I return, rewarding or punishing as ye have requited your trust. In the biblical text of John 14:20, Jesus declares to his followers, I go away and come again unto you. Tell no one the Son of Man has risen again. Thoth says, for surely I will come again, betray not my secrets. You know, this is the same stuff. Why is Jesus' stuff, or I call him Yeshua, that's his real name, why is it the same? Because he learned it from the same source. That's why he's reteaching. Just like if I become a physicist and I have a school and I'm a professor, I have students come and I teach my students. Some of those students will become professors, and they'll be saying the same things I taught them. This is the same scenario we have here. The emerald tablets of the Atlantean Thoth laid hidden and buried under the Great Pyramid of Giza for centuries. The date of their concealment is unknown, but we do know it was sometime after Thoth left his earthly kingship over the Egyptians. You see, Thoth had ruled over the land of ancient Kemet before it was even called Egypt. According to the Egyptians, not according to me, he ruled for 16,000 years, one man, over the land of ancient Kemet. He even helped them rebuild civilization there after the Great Flood. He rebuilt a post-diluvial, highly advanced civilization there. After some time, he left, and he went to Mesoamerica, and he built the Teotihuacan civilization. What's Thoth's name in Africa? He's known as Thoth, but he's also known as Tahuti. And what does Teotihuacan translate to? The city of Tahuti. Same person, two different continents in ancient times. Even now, under the Great Pyramid of Giza lies an undiscovered place of otherworldly appearance and the access point to a realm referred to as the Great Halls of Amenti. For generation upon generation after the earthly departure of Thoth, specially appointed priests of Thoth from the early departure performed as guardians to the hiding place of this domain. Those pyramid priests are still there. I mean, I know them well. I see them every year. Around 1200 BC, priests removed these tablets from Egypt and carried them throughout the world to all former Atlantean colonies. Now, this is important because, like I always say, Atlantis was not just a ringed city located in one place, potentially in the Atlantic Ocean, right, or the Pillars of Hercules, but Atlantis was many capitals on Earth. The ring city was one of many capitals, and they had kings ruling over different regions of the planet. That's how it was set up back then. What ended up happening is they all went to war against each other. And the war extended from Earth to the moon and even all the way to Mars, the god of war. And there's a reason for that, but that's a whole nother podcast that gets into the Epic of Atrahasis. And the Ijiji wanted to go to war against the kings of Earth, Enki, Enlil, and Anu. The further away from Egypt the priests traveled, the more new civilizations experienced religious renaissances. Do you understand what's going on here? These tablets hold the key behind all spiritual beliefs. And wherever these priests traveled with the knowledge of what's in these tablets, as they were teaching and preaching the knowledge in the tablets, which really are the secrets of the mystery schools, people in those regions began to spring up new religions, spiritual beliefs out of nowhere. There you can actually track the path of tablets around the world as new religions and new spirituality beliefs would begin to pop up and crop up everywhere, because these emerald tablets are the main source for most belief systems that exist. Finally, the priests left the tablets buried under the unmarked temple, perhaps under the pyramid of Pakal the Great, Lord Pakal. That's in where? Mexico. Okay, we're talking about what used to be considered Mesoamerica, and now it's obviously not Mesoamerica anymore. It's Mexico and South America, where the Mayans obviously used to live. That area is, now has many different names, but it used to be one big name, Mesoamerica. That's where Thoth went to build the Teotihuacan civilizations. Thoth gave Dorial permission to retain a copy of his translations after making the arduous journey and delivering the tablets to the doorway of the halls of Amenti. We can imagine Dorial taking a transport ship across the Atlantic in the mid-1920s, bound for Egypt while concealing the glistening emerald tablets of Thoth the Atlantean. How he must have slipped serendipitously into the pyramid complex under cover of darkness. Directed by the presence of Thoth to the hidden entrance, this entrance lay undisturbed for 3,300 years, since the guardian priests had left behind their temples for the mission of Thoth. These most ancient tablets are the ones formed by Thoth, the god of wisdom and knowledge, and written for the spiritual enlightenment of all those who respond and receive the rarefied form of consciousness as a gift from God himself. Thoth was a god king of Egypt for thousands of years, but when he decided to return to the halls of Amenti, he built the Great Pyramid of Egypt to serve a twofold function. Firstly, to safeguard the emerald tablets, and secondly, to serve as a hidden entrance to the halls of Amenti. Thoth says that beneath the Great Pyramid stands the doorway to the underworld, where the Master of Masters dwell. Now, these halls of Amenti are not Thoth's halls. This is his father's. These halls right here, they're underground. These belong to Enki, Enki. Enki is the father of Thoth, the Atlantean priest king. In the Emerald Tablets, his name is Thothme, Thothme, right? He's the ruler of Undal, and he is a master geneticist according to the ancient tablets that have been left behind. Now, what's interesting is he also had his own halls. These people, these advanced beings, they had their own rejuvenation chambers that they would go to store their own avatar bodies, that they would take the time to clone them in some way that we don't understand. They weren't cloned from existing people. They fashioned these bodies themselves, and then they would inhabit them and walk amongst men, but unlike a man. Now, what's interesting about these halls, you can see how incredible these halls look in terms of the technology used to construct this underground labyrinth. There's no mummies down there. There's no dead bodies down there. There's no buried pharaohs. There's nothing. You know what's down there? Hall after hall after hall after hall. And what's in those halls? 80-ton granite. What look like sarcophagus, but they're not sarcophagus. They're actually the actual rejuvenation chambers. The rejuvenation chambers are in there, and they're pristine clean on the inside. I've gotten inside of some of these, and if you have enough strength to climb up and climb over some of you, we can help you get inside of some of them. All right. But what's interesting is these gigantic 80-ton objects, these rejuvenation chambers, there is not enough space to maneuver them through this underground labyrinth. First of all, to get them down there at that weight, and then to get them in their own little tiny alcove that they are tucked into. They fit snug as a bug in a rug right in these things. How did they get them in there? There's no way to even turn the corner to get them in, which means they materialized them down there. After carving out these halls underground, they then vitrified the rock to make it a firm structure. And then after they did that, they materialized these gigantic megaton megalith rejuvenation chambers directly into their alcoves. And they were all connected through a network, an energetic network. They were connected energetically down there. You could feel the energy when you go down there. And then they would get inside of one of these. Thoth would climb inside, or this was Enki's. He would climb inside of one, and he would transfer his consciousness into one that was already ready to go inside of another one of these halls down there. And then he would get up and climb out of that chamber, but leaving the other body he just left, the other sleeve he just left behind, rejuvenating down there for about 100 years, while he climbed it out and walked amongst men in another one. And when that one wore out or got injured or got sick, he'd go drop that one off and go into another one. They had many bodies already established and set and waiting for them to be able to just come and take a new sleeve whenever they needed one. Okay? Incredible. All right. Here is another one. You see how tight that is in there? This 80-ton rejuvenation chamber. You can't even turn the corner to get it in there. If you did find a way to get it down that deep and down the hall to get it turned into that corner, you wouldn't be able to do it. You just couldn't do it. And you can't make it down there, because to make granite top and bottom of that size and that magnitude, you would need a piece of granite probably the size of the room I'm sitting in, probably a 35 by 50 room. Just a granite would need to be that big and that massive to carve it down to the size that's here. Forbidden knowledge, guys. I'm inside of the Serapeum at Saqqara. This place is incredible. First of all, there's things in here you wouldn't even imagine could exist. The lid on this sarcophagus is super massive. It weighs about 70 tons. The base weighs about another 80 tons. The two together, well over 100 tons of granite from Aswan, which is about maybe 200 miles, maybe 300 miles away from here. We're in the middle of the desert. Not only that, how did they get it into this narrow area and set it in here like this? And what was it for? It's something this massive in a place like this. The answers are on Forbidden Knowledge TV. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. I'm in back of one of the alcoves. I'm inside of one of the halls, so in back of the actual sarcophagus. Now this it's really a rejuvenation chamber. Now this one is the only one that even the priests that guard it will tell you that it has stargates on it, rectangular stargates. On every single side there's rectangular stargates. So that my hand is actually touching one of the inscriptions, which represents a gate. But also what it's touching solid granite that's warped as if an energy signature hit it and somehow modified or changed the atomic structure of the granite, allowing it to warp and bend without cracking. Now, I don't know if you understand granite and how hard granite is, and how tough it is to even form it or shape it into these amazing shapes. But then to be able to even have anything that can dent and warp granite as if it was fluid. Now, what's interesting about this, in front of me where you can't see where the person is standing that took this photo, there's a wall in the back of that hall. Now that wall has a gigantic opening in it that you can see has been something energetic came through it and formed this opening that came through it. That beam that came through the back wall of that hall is what hit this sarcophagus, this rejuvenation chamber, and actually warped solid granite. I don't know if you understand. I wish I could make you understand. You can't warp granite. You cannot do this. You just can't. It would crack and break before it warped like this. It's wavy as if it turned into liquid. Okay? Now, what does that tell us? It tells us that an energetic beam of some type, an exotic energy beam, came through that back wall and hit this rejuvenation chamber. Now, Thoth talks about having the capability of going into his underground chambers and traveling from place to place, not only on Earth, but even to other places. And so he has these portals. I remember I went to Tula, Mexico. I think it was 2015. I was in Tula, and I went to his one of his homes. He has actually several homes. This was his house is a pyramid, of course, and then on top are Toltecs, but underneath he lived inside. But in the back there was a stargate, a rectangular stargate, just like these. And the indigenous people there, and even the guide, say he would walk into that fake door and stand there and then vanish. Where would he reappear? Places like this, in the halls of Amenti. Imagine he's coming back and he's coming to this hall, or his dad Enki's coming to this halls of Amenti, and the portal opens up, and it actually, the energetic beam from the portal over this stable wormhole creates some type of energetic beam that breaks through the back hall and then hits this rejuvenation chamber and actually warps 80 tons of granite like it was just butter. Incredible stuff. The book is still a bestseller for a reason. It's a bestseller in 5 countries for a reason. A lot of great information in this book. I can sit here and talk to you for hours and hours and hours just going through 3 or 4 pages. Okay? A lot of great reviews on this book from a lot of big name people.
By Compendium of the Emerald Tablets by Billy Carson.